I'm Uncle Mitch from the Action Network. And if you watched our video on understanding odds in sports betting, you heard me use a term called Vigorish. And that $2 is also called Vigorish, or the Vig, the margin, the take, the house edge, or more commonly, the juice. And in today's video, I'm going to explain what juice means when you're betting on sports, the different names that it goes by, and what you need to know about it as a new or newish sports bettor. Juice is the fee that sportsbooks charge to take your wager, but it doesn't show up on a ticket the way that like a fee would in a room service bill. It's baked into the odds of every bet that you make. Let's look at an example. Here, my beloved Buffalo Bills are taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we can ignore the spread here, the plus minus 6.5. We'll get more into that in our how to bet point spread video. All you need to know right now is that the Buffalo Bills are favored, which means sportsbooks predict they are more likely to win this game. We're going to look instead at the minus 110 number next to each team. Let's say I want to bet the Buffalo Bills to cover. I bet 110 to win 100, and some Steeler fan, he bets $110 on the Steelers to cover. When the Buffalo Bills inevitably win, the sportsbook will pay me $100, but they'll keep the $110 from the Steeler fan. They took two bets, they paid out 100, but they made 110. The $10 left over, that's the sportsbook's advantage, or the vig, or the juice. And if the sportsbook was taking bets without the point spread, on the money line instead, the impact of that juice would be even more dramatic. If I bet the Buffalo Bills just to win the game outright, I've got to bet $275 to win 100. And the Steeler fan, he gets plus odds because they're the underdog, so he can bet $100 to win $215. Sportsbooks are incentivizing bettors to make a riskier bet and enticing them with a larger payout. Now, let's say the Buffalo Bills win. In that scenario, the sportsbooks break even. They pay me $100 and they took the Steeler fans $100. The juice in this instance is the extra $175 I had to bet in order to take a heavy favorite. Where this really comes into play is if the Steelers win. In that case, the sportsbooks would make $60. They would take my $275 and they'd pay the Steeler fan $215. And that remaining $60, that's the juice. Now, $10 and $60 doesn't sound like a whole lot of money, but it adds up quickly when you're taking thousands and thousands of bets. I gave you all that information just to come back to the very simple sentence I said up top, and that is, juice is the fee a sportsbook charges in order to take your bet. Certain northern cultures have dozens of words for snow because they're constantly surrounded by it. And sportsbook gamblers, like me, have dozens of words for this vig or juice because we're constantly surrounded by fees like this. And the most common is probably Vigorish, comes from Yiddish slang, but the most common you'll really hear is just vig or juice. But there's also the margin, the cut, the take, the rake, the house edge, and the underjuice. And you don't need to worry about remembering any of those because the most common, again, will be vig and juice, and they all mean the same thing. And that is the fee a sportsbook charges to take your bet. Now, there's a better than good chance that this whole thing sounds like a bum deal to you, right? If you bet $10, why shouldn't you win $10? It's a totally normal reaction. But sportsbooks are a for-profit business, and the juice is what keeps that machine running. They're also a competitive business, which is what prevents this juice from growing out of control. Sportsbooks employ odds makers. These people are some of the best in the world at predicting what'll happen in a game, a season, a match, a bout, whatever. But one of the best parts about betting on sports is how often something totally unpredictable happens. And because of that, juice is what prevents these sportsbooks from going bankrupt, or worse, just becoming really, really selective with the bets that they offer and accept. Juice is also the sportsbook's greatest advantage, and it's what prevents the majority of sports bettors from becoming long-term winners. And that's why it's important to shop around to find the best prices on the bets you want to make. And since odds are constantly shifting to encourage betting on both sides, you want to check out the Action Network's odds page. And there, we track the different prices sportsbooks are offering for the same bets in real time. And for a deeper dive into the intricacies of juice, check out our What is Juice in Sports Betting article on our website. And if you're really into math, you can calculate the juice yourself by adding up the implied probabilities of both sides of a wager and subtracting from 100. You can also use the odds converter tool at actionnetwork.com to calculate the implied probability of both sides of a wager. All right, in this video, we learned that juice is the name for sportsbook fees. We learned that those fees are baked into the price of every bet. For example, betting 110 to win 100. We learned there are many different names for juice, but the most common are Vig or Vigorish. And we learned that if this whole thing seems a little bit unfair, it's because it is, but the sports books collecting a small percentage off of every bet is what keeps them operational. If this video helped you out at all, please give it a like so that other new or newish sports bettors can find it and learn more. And if you haven't seen our video on how to read odds, check that out. It dives a little bit deeper into what we talked about today. For all of the Action Network's how-to videos on sports betting, check out this playlist. And that's it. Thanks so much for watching, and good luck out there.